Hi, how are ya? I've been talking a lot about toxic relationships, and that's part of the healing journey. I really don't believe you can heal until you clear your toxic relationships, and that's why I spend so much time talking about it. So, what I want to do is because I spend so much time talking about it, and I'm talking from experience mostly, but I also had a really great coach for 5 years, and I learned a lot from him. And there's been other people along the way that I've learned a lot from in some books, in some periodicals. So right today I'm going to be working off the periodical that I read, and this was Psychology Today. And the author of the article I'm referencing is Susan Cross Whitburen, and she has a PhD. And so her article was called Kindred Spirits. And I was looking for something that would help me explain and help me understand why it is some people don't have a struggle in their relationship. And I was kind of thinking it had a lot to do with their own level of toxicity because we can all be toxic. I'm not accusing other people of being toxic and saying that I cannot be toxic myself because that's not true. I can also be toxic. But what I'm looking to do is I wanted to find a significance between the fact that if you are toxic, you'll do better with somebody who is at the same toxicity level as you because I don't know, everybody has some toxicity. So if you find someone who's wildly toxic, which is probably everybody, then you'll do better in your relationship. But a mildly toxic person probably isn't going to do well with a massively toxic person. Okay, I'll say massive, but extremely toxic. Maybe massive is a little bit more than extremely. But or so like mediocre toxic. So the thing is, if you are a mildly toxic person, like I said, everybody can be toxic, and you're with a massively toxic person, then you're probably going to have a lot of conflict. So this article actually says a lot about that. I was looking for something I'm like I need to verify this is true because I feel like this is how it works. You can't just go around calling people toxic and not realize you're toxic yourself, but there has to be a line that's drawn because if when you are toxic, you reflect. See, everyone's somewhat toxic or has some things they need to work on, addictions, whatever they're dealing with. But the thing is, like I said before, is you need to be remorseful, you need to be apologetic, you need to work these things through instead of blaming other people. So a good sign of toxicity in high, massive toxicity is somebody who blames others. So that's your key factor. Someone who blames others and doesn't take accountability. And they usually turn that over and turn themselves into a victim as well. So they're not willing to take accountability. They blame others and then make themselves the victim. It's a cycle that they work out. Okay. So so this article was called Kindred Spirit, and I'm referencing almost almost verbatim from her, but it's a little bit. I threw my a little bit of my stuff in there, but I want to give Susan Krauss Whitburn the credit, PhD. Okay, so she says narcissists don't make good romantic partners, except perhaps for other narcissists. Okay, we get that. So a narcissist can be a very good romantic partner to another narcissist. That's what she said, okay? High narcissism was a negative predictor of relationship satisfaction at the individual level. Okay, so if somebody's got narcissism, there was a really strong negative effect to their relationships. Yet, feeling that one's partner was similarly narcissistic to oneself predicted greater satisfaction for both men and women. So whether they actually are equally narcissistic doesn't matter. If that person feels like they are, then they were more satisfied with their relationship. And so that's what I'm saying. So if you find somebody along the same lines, the same toxicity, they can do well. So if you leave or have a problem with a toxic person, they might do well somewhere else. So it's better to release them and they can find somebody more like them, right? Couples who were dissimilar in psychopathy were more likely to be dissatisfied. So it goes the same thing with psychopathy, okay? Um, Men with high psychopathy reported the greatest relationship satisfaction when they perceived their partner to be similarly psychopathic. Okay. And psychopathy is more common in males and seems as a mating strategy. So mostly psychopaths are male. Like it's like way off the charts. Like 75% are male, maybe 25% are female. And she's saying it's used for a mating. Okay. So they use it for mating. So what that's saying is that psychopaths don't show themselves to be psychopathic in a lot of cases unless it's with a partner. Okay, like a sexual partner, a dating partner. It's mating. So mating, right? It's that, right? So it's basically going to be somebody that they're intimate. So it makes sense that if somebody's psychopathic, it's not going to show up in the world. It's not going to show up to the people they're not mating with. That's why people say, like, I can't believe that person was a psychopath. I can't believe that person did this or that. That seems so unlike that. Well, that makes a lot of sense, okay? Because it's proven in, like, hey, this is psychology today if you've got a PhD. So she's saying that psychopaths will use their psychopathy for mating. They're not going to use it sometimes even for their own family members, right? Psychopathy is more common in males, I said that, doesn't mean. Therefore, women who have psychopathy don't necessarily like psychopathic relationships. So this is the one contrary thing to the whole article. A woman who is a psychopath doesn't necessarily like to have a psychopath partner. But it goes along with what I just referenced, the fact that the psychopath male is more psychopathic through mating. So a woman who is a psychopath, she didn't reference that they were that way. A female psychopath isn't as interested in a male psychopath, probably because of the whole mating thing. So if a psychopath is controlling, coercive, abusive, neglective, and all of that, a woman who's that way isn't going to get anything out of being that way herself through somebody who's already that way. That makes a lot of sense. Whereas with narcissism, that's a little bit different because it's so more so give and take. Like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours a little bit with narcissism, where you don't feel like a guy. I would guess maybe, right? And so she says partners with high dark trait, dark type B cluster diagnosis is okay. Dark traits are not good partners to those who are honest, even tempered, and modest. Now, that makes a lot of sense because people who aren't honest, even tempered, and modest don't want to put up with a lot of the things that the psychopath is going to do in mating. They're not going to want to be up for these tricks. They want to stay even tempered. They're looking for balance, right? Which is what we're looking for. So, in our healing journey, we want to be honest, even tempered, and modest. So, we want to find other people who are going to treat us that way or support us in those, right? So we're not going to want to be in a toxic relationship because we don't want to be that. So the end keynote is, yet the case of narcissist and male psychopath Their perception that their partner sees the world through the same distorted lens could offset some of the relationship difficulties inherent to these traits. So, a psychopath and a narcissist tends to think that you see the world through their lens. Of course, that's for everything. We have a hard time understanding other people's perception unless they tell us how they perceive things. And that's general. So that's everybody. So a narcissist who sees things through a narcissist perspective or lens thinks that their partner sees everything through their lens. Now, these narcissists and psychopaths, because of their, let's say, their behavior traits involved in these diagnoses, because of these behaviors that they are so attuned in their mind to these behaviors, they can't reflect. So they are disabled. They're not able to reflect or have empathy. So therefore they can't see anything except through their lens, which makes it different from other people who perceive things through their own lens, but can, through empathy and just general knowledge, realize that other people don't think the same way they think. Huh. And so what happens is because these dark traits or these type Bs can't see things outside of their own behavior, they believe everybody does things the way that they do. So that's one of the reasons why they're so toxic, because they can't see things from your point of view. They've already pointed the finger at you as being exactly like them before there's been any evidence to it. They assume, and a lot of times in their mind, they have a thought that, okay, she's doing this or he's doing that, and I'm going to do this to compensate. When in actuality, they could be 100% wrong. We're never going to do it. And so, because they're thinking like that, if they're thinking they would do it, they already assume you did it. So that's one of the problems with that. And it also, from what she says here, sees that it actually can help the situation. It says their partner sees the world through the same distorted lens could offset some of the relationship difficulties inherent to these traits. So, if you are somebody who is responding the same way as a narcissist, that could actually be helpful. That's what she's saying. So, in my experience, I haven't had that, but that's why two narcissists get along really well together. And because they're looking through the same lens. And so they're okay with some of the behaviors that the narcissist has because they have those same behaviors. So we're saying if even if you weren't a narcissist, right, you're a narcissist and you have a lot in common and you do certain things, it doesn't mean that you're a narcissist as well. You just have some of the same traits that narcissists have. And because of that, you might be able to get along really well. And so that's all I want to speak on today. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.